I'm not sure why I decided to tell this story today. Maybe it's because it's been years since I last slept peacefully. Or maybe I'm afraid that if I don't say it out loud, one day no one will remember what really happened in that house. 3 years ago, I moved to a quiet suburban area to live alone. At that time, I had just quit my job and wasn't in a good mental state. I only wanted a place that was silent, isolated, somewhere I wouldn't have to deal with people. The house I rented was at the end of a small road. During the day, it felt normal enough, but at night the entire area became eerily quiet. From the very first week, I noticed a house directly across from mine. It didn't look like a typical abandoned house. There were no collapsed walls, no overgrown weeds, no obvious signs of decay. Everything looked strangely intact. But there was one thing that made me uncomfortable. The house never had its lights on. Not once. Not at night. Not at midnight. Not ever. I asked a few neighbors about it. They all answered quickly, almost too quickly. It's been abandoned for a long time, but when I tried to ask more questions, they avoided eye contact or changed the subject. That was when I first felt something was off. But instead of backing away, my curiosity only grew stronger. One afternoon, while standing in my yard, I glanced toward that house just as sunlight angled through the first floor window. And that was the first time I saw it. A jar. It wasn't big or small, just an ordinary-sized ceramic jar, pale white in color, placed right in the center of the living room on a low wooden table. On the surface of the jar was a black number. I could see it clearly, number 6. I don't know why that image stayed with me all night. When I went to sleep, I dreamed about the jar. In the dream, I was standing in a dark room, facing it. The number 6 slowly faded, and then changed into number 7. I woke up suddenly, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. After a few days of convincing myself it was nothing but coincidence, I decided to go over and take a closer look. I told myself I would just step inside for a moment and leave. The door wasn't locked. As soon as I pushed it open, a wave of cold air rushed out. Even though it was sunny outside, the inside was unnaturally quiet. I could hear every single one of my footsteps. The jar was still there, but the number on it was now 7. I froze. A chill ran down my spine. I knew I hadn't misread the number before. That was when I noticed a small piece of paper lying beneath the jar. I picked it up. Written on it, in neat handwriting, was a single sentence. Each time someone comes back, the number increases. I left the house immediately and tried to forget everything. But from that day on, I couldn't stop thinking about the jar. And eventually, I went back. The second time, the number was 8. The third time, it was 9. Every visit made me feel heavier inside, as if I was doing something wrong but couldn't stop myself. Then strange things started happening. The day the number turned to 9, a man in the neighborhood suddenly died from a stroke. At first, I didn't connect the two. But when the number became 10, a nearby house caught fire in the middle of the night. 11. A woman was reported missing. 12. A serious traffic accident happened right at the entrance of the street. That was when I started writing everything down. And that was when I realized something terrifying. Every time the number on the jar increased, someone in the area experienced a major tragedy. Not always death, but always something serious. One day, I returned to the house again. The jar now showed number 17. Next to it was another piece of paper. The short sentence written on it made my chest tighten. When the number reaches 20, everything will end. I didn't know what end meant, but I knew it wasn't something good. I began researching the history of the house. After days of asking around, I finally met an elderly man who had lived in the area for decades. When I mentioned the jar, his face went pale. He told me that many years ago, a man lived in that house, someone obsessed with death. Every time someone in the neighborhood died, he would mark it by adding a number to the jar. When the jar was full, he took his own life. The last number he ever recorded was 20. That night, I didn't sleep. The next morning, I ran straight to the house. The jar was there, waiting for me, number 19. My hands started shaking. I knew that if the number changed to 20, someone else would suffer. And in that moment, I realized something far worse. The next person could be me. In a panic, I grabbed the jar and smashed it against the floor. It shattered instantly. Everything went dark. When I woke up, I was in a hospital. They said I had collapsed inside an abandoned house. No one mentioned the jar. No one believed my story. A few weeks later, I moved away, but here's the part that still won't let me rest. Before leaving for good, I went back to that street one last time. The house across the road was still there, and through the first floor window, sitting on the wooden table, was a jar, a new one, pale white, perfectly intact, and painted on it, in black, was a single number, number 1. That was when I finally understood. The jar never disappears. It only starts over.